My name is Elisabeth Valerio. I am the president of the United Zimbabwe Alliance, also known as UZA. It is a political party that was formed on 29 May 2021. We are a new political party. We're a party that is comprised of individuals from across Zimbabwe, but we are a very ambitious political party. So we were formed by a group of individuals that came together at first who didn't know each other. We were about 30 people who came together with the idea of trying to discuss issues that we were facing in Zimbabwe. At the time, I'm a conservationist. I live in Hwange, and I was very concerned about protecting our wildlife spaces because at the time there were foreigners who were trying to get into Hwange National Park. They wanted to mine for coal. So that was my first concern, my primary agenda. But of course, we also, as individuals coming together, we were trying to figure out how do we create a pressure group that can bring forward issues that Zimbabweans are concerned about. So people sitting around the table from all provinces had different concerns. Some of us were concerned about education. Others came to the table saying, you know, where we live, there's no water. We don't get any water. Other people were saying we've got youth throughout our country. They're sitting at home. We have nothing to do. Children are turning to drugs. Our children are turning to drugs because they have no jobs, even though they have education. Other people were sitting there saying, you know, look, as Zimbabwe, we've lost our industrial sector. There really are not many industries. So we were all different people, very diverse in our thinking. And we had representatives from different cultures, different educational backgrounds. But at the end of our conversation, ultimately with the agenda of creating a pressure group, we decided we needed a new government for Zimbabwe. That Zimbabwe really had all these challenges because it didn't have a viable and a government that was leading us in the right direction. So as individuals, we sat around a table and formed United Zimbabwe Alliance, what we call UZA. At the time, we were people who were coming from different backgrounds. So there were even individuals with different symbols or different ideologies, you know. I think you all know the major parties. But when we left that table, we came together and said, we are going to come together. Ngati batane, Chichiwaka Zimbabwe. Let's unite as we build Zimbabwe. And this became the symbol of UZA, the United Zimbabwe Alliance. We are a political party which is saying by 2023 we will have formed a new government, a complete government. And this government will stand in 2023 elections, representing every constituency, every community, wherever you live. We want to have leaders who will contest in 2023 as UZA, and that is citizens' engagement. We want to make sure that everything that we do, and we are already doing this, we engage the citizens. I've spent 9 months traveling across Zimbabwe, visiting people in rural areas, in some urban areas, trying to understand and hear from citizens in Zimbabwe what it is that you want in the future Zimbabwe. We are here to rebuild our country and to unite the nation. But that's UZA, that is UZA. There are a lot of political parties in Zimbabwe, and I think there are a lot of different people who come into politics with different ambitions and different objectives. As UZA, when we sat down to create this political party in 2021, 29 May, we had a very clear vision. Our vision is to rebuild Zimbabwe, to make sure that we benefit every citizen of Zimbabwe. Our mission was never, as we sat down, to form alliances with other political parties. You'll notice our name, it says United Zimbabwe Alliance. It's an alliance of the citizens of Zimbabwe. So I happen to be one person who believes that one of the reasons a lot of the political parties that we see in Zimbabwe are so fragmented is because people are trying to force alliances. They are bringing people together with different ideologies, different visions and missions, and trying to force them to say, let's work together as one government or as one political party. In politics, there's no government that will be comprised of only one political party. The reality is there will always be more than one political party in the government, comprising of different political parties with different agendas. We as UZA believe a politically plural Zimbabwe is what is good for our country, is what we need. There's always been this mentality that says, we're not from the same enemies. It shouldn't be like that. Zimbabweans should be free to choose the political parties that they identify with. and that represent them in terms of their ideology. And we all go to the ballot and we all vote based on what we believe. So, I would like to see a situation where, yes, we've got a myriad of political parties. People should make a choice and say, what is it that I identify with? As UZA, we are not interested in alliances, but we are being approached by a lot of leaders from other political parties who are saying, look, we like what your vision is, we want to join you. And so our requirement is they join as an individual. They must identify with our values and they must follow our mission, rather than saying your political party must join my political party. It doesn't work like that. So we would love to see an alignment of the citizens coming together and saying, let's create that movement, that force for a change in government in 2023. I'd be very naive to say UZA will be the only political party in the 2023 government, but we want to be the majority. And as president of UZA, I stand to represent you as the first woman president for Zimbabwe, because I believe we have that potential. I believe as UZA, with the reach we've had so far, we've been in every constituency throughout Zimbabwe. We have structures. We are very established now. We have a good chance, but it doesn't mean that the chance has to come by us joining other political parties and forming alliances. Well, in terms of the government itself, I think we're coming from the by-elections, 26 March. We had our first candidates contesting in 4 constituencies, and it was a very ambitious plan for us. We really went to these elections with just a few weeks to prepare, and we had mostly been focusing on rural voters. We've been spending most of our time in the rural areas as UZA. So in those areas, throughout Zimbabwe, we've got structures, we've got leadership on the ground. So we're going to be, going through the proper channels of making sure that we identify the MPs. Certainly our citizens, our voters, will select an identity within their communities. And come 2023, we will make sure that every constituency has, representation from UZA. We're going to ensure that we have 210, MPs standing, and we are also looking at ensuring that we have all of the councillors that we need for every community throughout Zimbabwe. So wherever you live, as a citizen, you should be able to identify representatives from UZA and know that you've got leaders that will stand. That's how we're forming the government for 2023. But not only that, as UZA, we are already starting projects throughout Zimbabwe. I've made a commitment to building 30 companies. I'm looking for currently, and I say but that because this is a goal that I have personally set, but I've challenged our leadership within UZA to build 30 companies by the end of 2022. We want to identify the best and the brightest individuals who have good ideas. They don't have to be members of UZA, but we want to build Zimbabwe. So as a government, we will stand for and represent the development of every citizen, not just individuals who are part of our political party. We want to find individuals who have good ideas, or maybe they already have a company, develop those companies. So there's a program that I've been developing over the past several weeks that you will all hear about very, very soon. And so we are not waiting until we are in government to build and develop Zimbabwe. We've started already. We are already working on challenge. It was a very challenging environment for us to work in terms of the by-elections. We had only 4 candidates. We contested in urban areas that we had not really spent a lot of time in terms of outreach and engagement. But going into those 4 constituencies, we were in Bizo, we were also in Kwekwe Central, and then in Harare we stood in Kwadzana East, and we also had our national chairman, standing in Harare, in Harare East, and then we were in Kwadzana East. So we had very challenging constituencies to contest in the first. We faced a lot of challenges because, for example, one of our candidates in Bizo, when she went to review the ballot, she found that her photo had been smudged. There were marks on her face. You couldn't recognize her as a candidate. So it was an unfair election in our view, and we actually even took this matter to the High Court. We filed a case against ZEC regarding this because we felt it was a very unfair, it was a disadvantage to our candidate. all of the other photos on the ballot were clear, and yet hers was smudged. So there were other challenges too we faced on the ground, intimidation and other things. But as UZA, we are a non-violent political party. We're very tolerant, and we try to engage and speak with people when we find that we are in a position of conflict. And so, we know the challenging environment we already were going to be facing. We were already expecting it. I'm proud of the candidates that stood, the four that represented us, and we're looking forward to continuing to support their efforts as they prepare for 2023. But they'll be joined by a number of other candidates come 2023. Look, we're a very new political party, and I think there are a lot of people who don't know us yet. As much as we have worked on mobilization, we still have a lot of people to reach. Our goal as UZA is to reach 6.5 million voters by 2023. 6.5 million people is a lot of people to reach if you look at it in terms of the short time that we have. So as we were going into the by-elections, we were already very disadvantaged. I think a lot of the people we were coming into contact with had not yet registered to vote. A lot of the youth, for example, are not really interested in registering to vote. They don't think that their vote counts or that it makes a difference. So we've got a lot of work to do to try to engage people. I think there's a lot of apathy. A lot of people are just staying home and saying, it's not relevant, it's not really going to make a change or a difference. So those are the people that we really want to reach, the individuals who lost hope in the political environment in Zimbabwe. They don't see hope or opportunity in the current political leaders because they've seen the same faces for all these years and they've seen no change. As UZA, we are saying, look, we want to reach you, we want to know you. We have not also put a lot of effort into social media and some of the conventional ways of reaching people because we wanted to meet people face to face, to speak with them about our vision, our plan, to make sure they know who we are and what we are trying to do for Zimbabwe. So we were not disappointed. I think it depends on the lens that you're looking at. When you look at numbers on a ballot, on the results of the election, yes, it may appear we were not as successful as maybe the two other major political parties. But UZA had a very successful outcome because we did participate for the first time as a new political party. We did better than political parties that have been around for a number of years. Success. Our goal now is to really make sure that the voters turn up at the polls because we know that we've got members out there. We know we've got people who believe in UZA. We know we've got citizens who want to see a Zimbabwe that's very different from the Zimbabwe we live in today. So we've got work to do. I think we say iweneni tinebasa, right? We've got to get out there, talk to people, make sure that we convince them to go and register to vote. We always say as UZA, register to vote for UZA, turn up to vote for UZA. And then we need to defend our UZA votes. We need to make sure that as we turn up to vote, the votes are actually counted. So not a failure, but really a learning point for us, and we are now at the drawing board, already at work on our plans for the 2023. The environment for politics is not the easiest for women, and I know that a lot of women shy away from politics. When you look at the by-elections, we were proud to have a woman standing as one of the four constituency leaders as an MP candidate for Mbizo, Gladys Mutunami. I was so proud of her. As a presidential candidate for 2023, a lot of people are surprised. They say, as a woman, are you not afraid? But you know what? As I travel across Zimbabwe, women are encouraging me and saying it's time. It's time for us to have a woman, because a woman will have a very different approach in terms of leading Zimbabwe. We've seen examples of this throughout the world. A woman is what we need as president in 2023. About what challenges have you faced? I happen to be a daughter of a woman who was very ambitious. My mom was a role model to me. And from a young age, I never saw obstacles. I never really thought about my gender as a disadvantage, because I saw my mom doing things as a young woman, doing things that most men were only allowed to do. My mom was one of the first businesswomen in Zimbabwe. My mom was one of the most ambitious women I've ever come across, because she was also the first woman in Africa to stand as a presidential candidate. This is something I don't talk about very often, but I never really saw obstacles as a woman when I thought about this role and I was selected or voted in as the president of the United Zimbabwe Alliance. This is going to be difficult because I'm a woman. The challenge I face as a woman is trying to get other women to understand that we are relevant, that we are necessary in this political environment. We need more women, sitting at the table as politicians. We need our voices to be heard. And so I think that is probably the biggest obstacle I face, is trying to convince more women to come to the table, to join UZA, to be involved and relevant in politics. So as a Zimbabwean, as someone who really has a big heart for this country, I think the biggest message that I want to leave behind with Zimbabweans is, I've had the fortune of being able to travel all around the world. I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen Zimbabwe from a different perspective, the perspective other people have of our country. And it always amazes me because people view our country as a country that has a lot of challenges. Our country is broken to most people. But in my view, when I see Zimbabwe, I see nothing but opportunity. I came here, where I live in Hwange. I actually started off with this idea that, we can rebuild our community just in one corner of successful business from the ground up. I've seen what can be done when you put your effort towards working on something. I'm challenging Zimbabweans to say, let's look at not the challenges we have, but let's look at the opportunities. And let's put our minds together and see what can we do. Tikabatana chicha tingaita as Zimbabweans. What can we actually achieve? As our political party, we always say, let's unite and build Zimbabwe. If we all come together and put our efforts together, we've got the mindset, we've got the intellect, we've got the resources in our country. No matter what anyone in Zimbabwe, we are richer than any other country I've ever been to. We have everything here. So why can't we as Zimbabweans take back our country? Why can't we be the ones to lead the future direction of our country? Why do we have to look abroad, look afar and say, wachauya vachitibatsira? We don't need that. We as Zimbabweans can do it on our own. Yes, we need to participate in the international environment, but we should start here finding solutions. I don't want to see a Zimbabwe where people are crossing borders looking for jobs, saying there are no jobs here in Zimbabwe, so let's create jobs, produce those jobs. I don't want to see a Zimbabwe where we cross borders to buy things. Let's create the products right here in Zimbabwe. We can and will do it. So my challenge to Zimbabwe is, let's change our thinking. Let's think differently and realize that we have everything we need. What we need is leadership. Choose something completely different. Choose a new government in 2023. Not a government which is made up of the same people that you've seen for the last 42 years.